Hey there, it's another beautiful day. Today we're going to talk about reptilians. Let's watch some stuff.
There are essentially three different types of reptilians. There's the subterranean type, and they literally live in the large cavern systems underground. Sometimes they have quite modern facilities and installations underground. There are the extraterrestrial variety, which literally come here from other worlds in our cosmos, in this plane of existence. They travel here in stargates, or they travel here in spaceships, or both. And then there's the interdimensional variety, where these beings tend to stay like in the lower fourth dimension, although because they're masters of frequency and resonance and can alter their density, they can even go into higher dimensions.
I've heard a lot of stories about reptilians living in the cave systems underneath everything, right? Because there are vast cave systems that we don't even know about, and we don't even know how deep they go. So it wouldn't surprise me if there was like inside of Earth, right? Like inner Earth stuff going on, and reptilians were living there with their stargates and whatnot. And I was kind of thinking that they remind me a little bit of transdimensional light beings. What if that's them? What if it's the reptilians? You think it's a ghost, or you think it's a spirit or a demon or something like that, but it's really like reptilians, screwing around with dimensions and light and whatnot. That sounds exciting to me.
Reptilians really came into control and started to be able to manipulate what was going on the face of the planet about 6,000 to 7,000 years ago. It is true that they have different masking technologies to be able to be in a room and look like a human, but usually they're in underground bases in various places on the globe, as well as in a huge area in Antarctica. The southeast region has a large number of underground caverns that are kept extremely warm, too warm for humans, by geothermal heat. It's a perfect place for all of these colonies that the reptilians have. They're basically cities, huge cities with millions of them.
So I wonder if that's why the whole Antarctica treaty was signed, because all of these frickin' reptilians are like, you're gonna give us something. This is our, we're gonna take over. This is our planet, or whatever they're gonna say. And then they're like, okay, y'all can have Antarctica, just, chill out there or whatever. That's why we're not allowed to go out there, and we're not allowed to fly over it, and we're not allowed to go into certain areas. And you have to be with an escort, not that kind of an escort, like someone that's escorting you. Come on now. And they're going to take you on certain places. You can't just go there. You can't go to Antarctica. And it's probably because all them reptilians. Why not?
Here's some information spoken about reptilians by government officials and ex-government workers. The reptilians are known to be part of a grander empire that goes by many different names, mainly the Draconian Empire, which is basically a dark force. They have been visiting Earth since its creation, and they have been known to do genetic experiments on humans and animals, especially during the time of the dinosaurs. They have been known for infiltrating less advanced planets by first offering technology in exchange for resources, because they know that these civilizations are looking for technological advancements. Infiltrating planets from the inside is their specialty, and it is easier to take over civilizations using this technique, which is exactly what they're doing for Earth. This is why you hear a lot about elites being reptilians or having reptilian connections, because they're doing this exact same technique for Earth through the elites. Apparently they have a hierarchical system which includes the elite reptilians having wings, and I keep hearing about this through government officials, CIA agents, people who channel ETs, and it's even depicted in movies.
How absolutely crazy, right? So they're taking over from the inside, not literally like the inside of the planet coming out, like from the inside of our peoples. Like they've got the elites and super famous people, or I don't know why they would need to have super famous people or elites. I understand politicians and things like that, but not so much just the wealthy people that do things because they may not be necessarily in a position of power, but to be a politician, Yeah, I can understand taking it from the inside. I can also understand the other way, taking it actually literally from the inside of the planet, because they're supposedly living in all of these cave systems, right? And then one day they're just like, hey, I'm here. Screw y'all. I don't know.
There's 3 ways to spot a reptilian shapeshifter. Number 1, if the person has an overall lack of showing emotions, authentic emotions, then you could be talking to a shapeshifter. Reptilians don't really feel empathy like we feel empathy. They can fake it, but it's see-through, especially to us chosen ones that see through the BS. Number 2, if they're in a white body, a body that contains less melanin/carbon, that's the human form a reptilian is gonna take. Reptilians don't have the power to hold a darker color complexion. A lot of them can barely hold human form. Number 3, if their eyes can get like a slit, or just overall look like this at times, or if their skin can have a scaly complexion in certain areas that just doesn't look right, it could be a shapeshifter. Now, I'm not saying it's a shapeshifter for sure, but these are characteristics of a reptilian shapeshifter.
So I was wondering if I was a reptilian. I had seen another video where people are like, can you be a reptilian without even knowing you're a reptilian? I mean, I don't think that you could, because they're not like Manchurian candidates or anything like that. They're not plants and then one day they're activated all Jason Bourne style or nothing like that. But they know that you would know if you were a reptilian. Yeah, you would know, because that's your whole job, is to be reptilian and hiding yourself, right? But yeah, I'm definitely not, because one, I have emotion. Sometimes I have an overabundance of emotion. I don't know about like sympathy, empathy though. I'm kind of a little bit like, maybe it's just I don't give a crap half the time. I don't care. I just don't care. I am white, obviously. So there we have that. But I can't do the thing with my eyes. Yeah, no, they don't do it.
Then there are the most evil species we know in the universe, who are called the Draconian Reptilians, from the star system Draco. They appeared on Earth over 1 million years ago, before the Sirians, but after the Lyrans. They are scaly lizard-faced aliens with muscular humanoid bodies who are at heights around 12-14 feet. If we had to pick out one particular race in the cosmos and call them the bad guys, or even a biblical Satan, it would definitely be this species. They feed off low frequencies, fear, blood and death. Being one of the most ancient of species in the universe, they believe they have dominion over all beings on every planet. They are also natural-born shapeshifters and can shapeshift into anyone. Their lifespans stretch to 25,000, 50,000 years. Heavily built, these reptilians are said to be a violent race whose culture is based heavily on war. The Draconians don't particularly have patience for humankind and see humans as a source of energy and nourishment when humans become fearful, murderous, and destroy each other. They are also blamed for a large percentage of children abductions because their bodies aren't as polluted by toxins as an adult, and the sense of terror in a child who hasn't been desensitized causes a massive rush of adrenaline, which the Draconians apparently get a kick or rush from. 400,000 years ago, they were driven off planet or underground by the Anunnaki Sirians and Lyrans, where they are said to still reside today in a network of complex underground tunnels, channeling humans from lower astral demonic frequencies.
There goes that children thing again. I don't like it. It was interesting because the heading said that they were falsely called the Anunnaki, but it said at the end that the Anunnaki had chased them underground, which is weird. It's kind of contradicting. But they definitely make them sound so scary. And people wonder why I don't like freak out when I talk about them and I'm like all super excited. It's because I'm not afraid. And whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And there are bigger things to be afraid of, like our ocean, right? Like we know that's there. And we know there are things in there that want to eat you. Yet we still decide, hey, let's go in the ocean. No, thanks. No, I'm good. No.
The Dracos are originally from the 16th galaxy. They stand 6 to 8 feet tall and are of dark green in color. Their skin texture are dark and scaly. They have no hair on their body and they have a pulsing glow around their head. Their bodies are scaly with long arms and thin, reaching just above the knees. Their torso consists of a protruding chest and winged appendages, which is supported by long ribs and long skinny legs. They have some vestigial reproductive capabilities, such as neutral gender, reproducing like lizards. The male species nurture the egg. The female just lays them. Some of the hybrid species have crossbred with the reptilians such as Valkyria, gargoyles, dragons. They communicate mostly on the 4th and 5th densities, which humans like to call astral. The gargoyles, the reptilians with special wings, which are flaps of skin supported by long ribs of Dracana, and this is where vampire symbolically comes from. The word vampire is derived from the word Vulcan Empire. The V and the E are interchangeable in the Old English. There are people today who suffer from what is being called porphyria, which renders a person in need of blood. They are nothing but your modern-day vampire and Dracula. The word Dracula means son of the Dracos, and they come from these creatures known as the Draconians. They are from Draco, which is the 6-star constellation Orion, meaning it has 6 suns, and that would mean 6 solar systems, with many kinds of life forms. They are humanoid in shape and reptilian in heritage.
I know this video said that they were like 6 to 8 feet tall, and the one just before that said they're like 12 to 14 feet tall, so there's like a little size discrepancy, but they're still big, right? They're huge, they're huge. I like that this one talked about their sexes, which is interesting because anytime there is a depiction of aliens, they don't look like anything specific. Like you can't tell if it's a male or a female, and the whole front side is just like flat. There's no genitalia there. But interestingly enough, whenever there is like very specifically like sexualized aliens, like they have hair or they have female features, right? Or male features, they're wearing clothes. Kind of an interesting situation. I know it makes you feel like it might be a little made up, and we're putting them in clothes because we're uncomfortable with nudity when you can tell if it's a man or a woman. I don't know. I still believe in aliens. Oh, and at the very end there, those were scenes from the movie or the TV show V. Absolutely fantastic. I don't like that it ended so abruptly, but if you want to watch it, check it out. I prefer the old V. That one was one of my favorites. I saw it when I was very young. I had no clue what the heck it was. Scared the daylights out of me, and it probably put me on this little path where I'm like, yay, aliens. In fact, I'm pretty sure that's what did it.
La aterradora fotografía que fue tomada por un granjero a un real y auténtico reptiliano.
I just thought this was a really cool picture. It reminds me of Cardassians, not Kardashians, Cardassians. They're a species of aliens from Star Trek Deep Space Nine. They're pretty much in a lot of the Star Trek movies, but they're very prominent in Deep Space Nine. And there goes my nerd. And that's what it looks like. It might be from a movie. I'm not 100% certain where this image came from or what they're saying, but I just thought it was really rad.
So these Dracos seem to be a group of beings that are a very, very warring race that are always trying to take over and dominate. They want, some of these people, and I call them people, whether they're Dracos or whatever, because they're all still sentient beings. They want to dominate everything. They want everything. They want to be worshipped. They want to take over planets. They want to take over constellations, star systems, whatever it is, they want to take it over and they want to dominate it. And they go to war a lot. They're heavily, heavily, heavily into war. It's almost like the Klingons from Star Trek. It's like a race of beings that got to the space level, which is crazy that you can get to that level by being a race of warriors, which is what they are. And they want to dominate everything. And they created a lot of wars in the ancient past. If you look at the Ubaid culture, pre-Anunnaki, Ubaid, U-B-A-I-D, they landed on this planet long before the people we know as Anunnaki got here, even though they would be considered an Anunnaki too, because they're just, they got here before. I'm separating them now because the Ubaid culture got here before the ones that we knew turned us into slaves. Right. But the Ubaid culture lived here. The structures that they lived in were discovered, dilapidated and worn down from weathering and age, but they're still there. There's even some images available that you can download from the historical sites.
So I literally just left this episode in because it talks about Star Trek, and I needed an opportunity to nerd the frick out. So I like how he talks about Klingons, but it was like previous Klingons because they look way different. And there was like transitions in between one type of Klingon to another. And in Star Trek Discovery, they explain that, which is really super cool. I've watched every single episode of Star Trek. All of the Star Treks. I love them. It's like, I love it, okay? But then, like, he's like the Klingon, the face, different face. Then they had a different face in Captain Kirk's time. Then there's like Star Trek Next Generation where there's Lieutenant Worf and he's got the things and those Klingons, okay? And then in Star Trek Deep Space Nine, he goes back into the past to Kirk's time and they're like, what's going on with the Klingons? Why do they look so different? Because they're just brown painted people. And he's like, we do not discuss it with outsiders. I love that part. Thanks for letting me nerd out a little bit. And thank you so much for sharing your time with me today. Come on back tomorrow. We're gonna watch some new stuff. I'll say different things and it's gonna be fantastic. Until then, have a wonderful day.